Okay, so this is episode 1 of my new series called Building My First Shopify App, where, you guessed it, I'm documenting building my first Shopify app. Now, this is something that I wanted to do ever since I became a Shopify developer, like 4 years ago. And I finally have enough skills to get it done. So, I'm going to be documenting my process of building my first Shopify app. You're going to see all the wins, all the losses, and we're both going to learn something. And keep in mind, I've never built a Shopify app from end to end before. So a lot of the things I'm encountering for the first time. I'm really excited to do this, and hopefully you're excited to watch it. All right. So episode 1 is talking about MVP planning and actually how I ended up halfway building my app and having to start over. I'm going to explain why I did that. All right. Let's get into it. Okay, so when I first started working on this project, which was actually months ago, which is really embarrassing because I was unfocused. I'd be starting and stopping. Pro tip, if you start something, just finish it. Even if you're only working like an hour a day. Don't make the mistake I made and just get a whole bunch of hours in here and then take a long break and then a whole bunch of hours in there, take another long break. You end up working on it for months and not getting any progress. There's my tip for you. Please don't do that. But either way, I started working on this app months ago and I ended up paying someone to show me the ropes a little bit just so I can quickly make progress. Now, when I asked this person, I was like, hey, what's a good app idea that's simple enough to get me started? The person recommended I create something in the order invoicing space. According to them, super simple to understand and easy to get started with. So I ended up creating an app that was based off the Shopify order printer app that you see right here. The order printer app is essentially an app that allows you to print out invoices and printing slips for a bunch of different Shopify orders in bulk or one by one. So I actually have it installed on a test Shopify store right here. And as you can see, what the app does is you can go into any individual order, you can look at it, you can create a shipping label. I think this will link you to the Shopify admin. You can view the actual order, or you can print out an invoice or a packing slip for the order. So very simple functionality. And you can also do it in bulk as well. So I could print out, let's say, all of these orders at once and just do that, right? Now, keep in mind, this functionality is very common. There's a whole bunch of Shopify invoice apps on the Shopify app marketplace. But I figured an app like this is the easiest way to get started because it's such a simple thing and it's easy to understand, right? That's what I originally thought, but I ended up changing my mind, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. But either way, I wanted to show you what I actually built when I was working on it. So I used the order printer app as inspiration, and I built out my own version of what this would look like. Now I know, before you guys in the comment section come get me, when you're building out anything, it's best to focus on functionality first before you do design, or at least I think it's best to focus on functionality first before design. So everything is grayscale, black and white, minimal colors, so don't get at me in the comment section. Oh, the design isn't that good, Patrick, please. That's why it's like this. So really simple, it'll show an invoice of whatever the person bought in that order, and then actually as my part of the app, I allowed people to print out the invoice, or I allowed them to enter in the information for someone to email the invoice to. I figured this would be useful because some people might have a partially paid order or an unpaid draft order, and then you'd be able to send it out to your customers, if you're a Shopify store owner, prompting them to actually finish the payment. And okay, I can actually show you what this looks like inside of the email as well. So imagine you filled this out, all the information is there, you click send invoice. This is what it'll actually do. All right, so here's an example of an actual invoice that was sent out by my app. When I click send invoice, I sent the invoice to myself as a test. And you can see right here, the invoice number, the date, the customer name, and then I put some text. Here's an overview of your order from my Shopify store is called Appless Wishlist, but whatever the Shopify store is called. And then it says use the button at the bottom of the email to complete your purchase. It puts in the customer information, and then it puts in some info for their order, as well as a button they can click down here to complete their purchase. Now, after they click this button, the button will actually lead them to a Shopify checkout to finish their order. So that was the original idea that I had, and I thought it was good, but a conversation I had with another developer led me to take this app in a completely different direction. I'm gonna talk about that right now. Okay, so I know my app looks a little rough, but I thought I was ready to go. But a conversation I had with another app developer about a week ago changed my whole perspective and ultimately led to me changing my idea altogether. So I was speaking with the co-founder of a Shopify app called Cleverific, very popular Shopify app on the App Store. And I asked him, how do you know a Shopify app idea is worth chasing after? And he looked at me and said, if you can clearly explain how your app will allow for a Shopify store owner to make more money directly or to indirectly make more money by saving time and then being able to focus on their business more, if you can clearly show how your app does that, then it's worth chasing after. If not, then it's not. And that makes a lot of sense. It was kind of like an aha moment for me because I know that intuitively, if you can get someone to make more money, they'll pay you more money and that's worth doing. But sometimes when you're looking at Shopify apps, you see all the different app categories, you get a little lost in the sauce, and you don't even know where exactly to get started. So based on that conversation, I took a look at the category of apps I was working in. I was working in invoicing apps. I looked at all the other popular invoice apps on the Shopify App Store. I looked at how much they're charging and all the features they're offering, and I came to the conclusion that building an app in the invoicing space really wouldn't be worth it because I'm not gonna make that much money. Now I know that this first app that I'm building is really just a learning experience, but even if I'm focused on learning with this app, I did want to be able to be positioned to make some money. Who doesn't want to make money, right? So instead of focusing on invoicing, I decided to pivot my idea completely to focus on apps in the payment reminder category. So usually these apps are like cart abandonment apps, but I did find a couple apps that allow you to send out payment reminders on the behalf of store owners to other customers that have unpaid orders and unpaid draft orders. This is really useful for Shopify stores that do custom services, offer custom products to their customers, as well as do wholesale orders. So those are the types of customers, or those are the types of Shopify store owners that would find value in payment reminder apps related to draft orders. So that's the direction I'm taking my app in right now. And two apps I'm using as inspiration for this are the Kindly payment reminder app, as well as the Paster payment reminder app. Okay, so after I figured out that I wanted to do that, I looked at all the features offered in the Shopify App Store listing for those two apps, as well as on their websites. I compiled all of the information into a Google Doc, and I passed the doc into Gemini, and I said, hey Gemini, help me create all these features into a roadmap so I can create my own version of this type of app. And Gemini created an itemized roadmap for me. So all I have to do is follow the roadmap and build out the features and adjust and reuse whatever code for my app is applicable and build out the new stuff. So that's what I'm currently working on right now. Okay, so that's where I'm currently at with my app that I'm working on. But what can you do? So if you're watching this video and you're thinking, wow, Patrick, this is great and all, but how do I find an idea for my first Shopify app? Well, this episode's all about MVP planning, right? So you need to focus on planning out your MVP. Now, for those watching and they have no idea what MVP means, MVP stands for Minimal Viable Product, and it is essentially like the simplest version of a product or a piece of software that allows people to get in there, start using it, and give you feedback. So if I had to draw a comparison, it's almost like, imagine you're in school and you're writing an essay for your class. Your first draft of the essay is like your MVP. That first draft is good enough to allow people to read it over and give you some feedback. You want to focus on building on MVP, and you want to focus on picking a Shopify app category that is directly connected to a Shopify store's revenue. Now, that's not the only way to find an app idea, but that's the advice I was given, so that's the advice I'm giving you. App categories that are directly connected to revenue are stuff like cart abandonment or payment reminders, like what I'm doing, or stuff related to Shopify bundles, inventory stuff related to analytics, stuff related to upsells, maybe even stuff related to POS if it helps a Shopify store owner make more money in person, stuff related to marketing, just anything that can be directly connected to making a person more money. If you're curious about what you should end up building, my advice, take to the Shopify App Store, look at the various app categories, use AI tools to help you figure out which categories are the most connected to a Shopify store's revenue, and just find something in there that makes sense that you think you can build, try to make it a little better, and have AI come up with a roadmap that you can follow to get it done. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I could be wrong, Maybe it's bad advice, but that's the advice I'm working with right now. So hopefully you enjoyed, you found it useful, and yeah, episode 2 is going to be coming out at some point as I keep working on my app. All right, hope you enjoyed, and yeah, see you on the next video.